Welcome everyone to episode 31. This weekend we were spoiled for choice at MotoGP, World Superbikes and the BSB all in the same week. And if you're still trying to catch up or catch your breath, and you're trying to decide who's right and who's wrong, and who's going to stick around and hopefully listen to us and we will give you some sort of conclusion. This is the Big Bad Bike Show. I'm the Big Bad Biker, Sam McCauley, and joining me are my two co-hosts, the Up North Biker, Ash Hall.
Hello there.
And Moto Chippy, Chris Chippy Ballard.
Hello.
I just went for that intro.
Yeah, you messed up a bit, but
yeah. Do you want to do it again?
No. No, keeping it's fine. Whatever. Anyway, the point is, a lot of racing on last week, and we're going to talk about it. That's it. Right. So if you're listening on YouTube, please like, subscribe. You can hit the notification bell. That way, you'll be told whenever a podcast comes out. And if you're on Spotify or Apple, you can rate us by giving us 5 stars and writing a little review and telling us how awesome you think we are. And if you want to get in touch with us personally and send us a little email and tell us just how great we are or how bad we are or that we don't know what we're talking about, it's podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Feel free to get in touch about anything. If you've heard something we said wrong, or you want to congratulate us on something we said right, or you just want to start a conversation, that's the email address, podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. And young Ash is going to tell us what's coming up in the show.
Yeah, so it's the all new Who Am I, and this week it's Chippy's turn, keeping it a secret as usual. Going to be looking back at Motegi, the Japanese MotoGP, the World Superbikes at Portimao, and we can't forget, obviously, the BSB. Also on tonight's show, we'll be having our usual catch-up on what we've all been up to, talking more silly season, and Chippy's got some confirmed rides for us. And we have a question this week too. Which rider do you think could have been a front-runner or champion in a better class that was never given the chance? So we're all going to be answering that. So please stick around if you wanted to hear our answers to the question. And you can even get involved by answering the question yourselves. Please send your answer to us via our email address, podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Please do remember, we've got timestamps. So if you click on the description below, you should be able to fast forward to any particular section you want. If you just like listening to us talk bollocks like Chippy's dad does, and then just turn it off, go for it. Who cares? As long as you listen. Just let us know if you like listening to that bit. If you want to just hear about the racing, click the timestamp for racing.
yes.
And that's it.
Yes, well done, Ash. Well done.
Bloody hell, I got a well done for a change. Usually it's still like, you fat shit.
Yeah. Or was I being ironic? But we don't know.
Probably.
I learned from a cartoon the other day that ironic just basically, in some circumstances, just means being sarcastic.
Well, you're very good at that.
I am very good at that.
So,
Chippy, what have you been up to?
well, as you know, I got the keys to my house on Friday.
You always start every week with your catch up as you know, as you know, well, as you know.
Yes, we got the keys. We've got the keys to the house. The carpet is in now, and it is proper thick. Like, I wouldn't say you struggle to close the doors, but like you can feel resistance. It is so like spongy under your feet. It's very, very nice.
That won't last long.
No,
Your
probably
dog
won't.
on it.
Yes, he hasn't marked it yet.
Dirty paws.
We let him in.
Little dirty paws.
We let him in. We thought he was going to mark the place, but he didn't have a single wee or anything. So quite chuffed with that. And Ash has got a lot of work to do in that house because I'm pretty bad at DIY. In fact, I just can't do it.
You just can't be bothered.
No, I can't do it.
Like the way that I refuse to learn how to spell properly, you refuse to learn how to do DIY. That is literally all it is.
Yeah, true. Maybe.
I always think it's funny whenever people talk about DIY and they use the abbreviation DIY. So they say things like, I don't like to do DIY. So basically what you're saying is, I don't like to do it yourself. It should be called DIM, do it myself. Sometimes
Jesus
I do
Christ,
it myself.
You're pedantic.
No, it should be though.
So basically you're saying I'm dim.
No, you should say to Chippy, DIY, do it yourself, and Chippy should say, DIFM, do it for me. Diffham.
BDSM.
I don't know.
You do. Sam, what about you? What have you been up to?
Not very much. I'm also moving house very soon, and it is quite a stressful experience. But
Yeah, it's
unlike
crap,
you, Chippy, I've got kids to think about, and I know I say this to you quite a lot. Wait until you have kids, but Jesus, wait until you have kids. They stress you out no end. So we had a problem with the school. So I don't like these fucking headphones. So we had a problem with the school where we had to get our kids registered, but we were trying to get them both registered in the same school, and then that was a problem because one school was saying we can only take the eldest one, and another school was saying, well, we can only take the eldest one. So it was like, what do we do, the youngest one? And then we had to send our applications into fucking the local authorities of that county we're going to be living in. And they got it all wrong. They said they were in the wrong years. We were getting information back. Oh, we don't have any room for this year or that year. And it's like, that's not even the year our kids are in. They're not even in that year at school. So, but, long story short, they have eventually got into the same school, which is just round the corner from where we're going to be living. But it's been stressing us out for the past... It's been stressing us out for the past week and a half. My wife's all stressed about the actual move and stuff as well, whereas I'm just like, I don't care. I'll just go buy a van and chuck everything in the back of it. Drive it down there.
By the sounds of it, that's all we're doing on Saturday, by the sounds of it.
We haven't even started packing yet.
A lot of the stuff we bought years ago, we bought knowing we were going to have kids. So it's all at that sort of stage where if it gets a bit broken, we don't care. And we've moved house a few times. Hopefully this will be our last move and we'll settle down. But we've moved house a few times and we've dismantled things and put stuff back together enough times now that I don't really care what state it's in when I rebuild it. You know what I'm like.
Have you still got the cardboard box? I used to remember when I used to come round yours. Helen used to hide the cardboard box with shoes in it because you didn't want to get a shoe rack, and she was like, "Put the cardboard box in the shed outside." And you used to say, "I don't fucking care."
But it did the job.
Yeah, it did.
Why go buy a shoe rack when I can make one out of a cardboard box?
That was so funny.
Whenever we first got our cat, we had this like open TV unit, and my wife was like, "Well, I have to buy a new TV unit," and I just boarded it up with cardboard box. But I needed this little hole to get my Sky card in and out as well. People used to come round to the house and she was like, her head in their hands, like we were some sort of like
step-toed son.
I was like, but I'm just being resourceful. Why? Because the cat's going to grow up and the cat's going to get over that habit. So, I'm not going to go out and buy
funny
it.
Though.
What have you been up to, Ash?
Not a lot, really. Like I say, I put on the note.
We're such an exciting bunch.
Still waiting for Chippy to pull his finger out so I can get the work that he needs doing. I put that note on earlier, and then obviously I found out from his wife that it's all going down this Saturday. And I'm like, all right, cheers. Could have given me a bit more notice than that, but all right. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff in his house, repairing the stuff his dog's chewed and that.
Oh, you don't even know the half of it. You've got so much to do.
Oh, cheers. I've really been enjoying a podcast which you recommended, Sam, called Star Calls, which is all about two guys. One of them's grown up with Star Wars and one of them's never watched it before, and they watch the movies and then they discuss it after, and it is honestly the best thing I've listened to. I love it.
I'm glad you enjoy it because first of all you told me that you don't really listen to podcasts, what I find strange,
I don't.
because you do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But I was always like, well, just type in things you're interested in until a podcast comes up. So you always told me you weren't interested, so I find that really strange. But yeah, them guys, I listen to them quite a lot in a different podcast called The Computer Game Show. But that's and then I found out through listening to them that they did Star Calls, and I've listened to Marvel Calls who do that as well. And then it just kind of dawned on me a couple of weeks ago. I was like, hold on a minute, I should tell Ash about Star Calls. And then I was a bit worried whether he would enjoy it or not.
I absolutely love it. I've literally got up to the watched the Last Jedi. I'm up to that one, so I've been smashing through it, and no, it's great. I love listening to it. I love seeing the point of view and stuff.
listen to
Yeah,
Marvel
so
calls, because there's a lot of
will
Marvel
be after.
movies, and Marvel calls is good because it kind of gives you another way of getting to relive the films without actually sitting down and watching them. I listen to it a lot when because driving trucks, if you're driving for about 4 or 5 hours at a time, just stick a podcast on. And you're just there smiling, nodding along, or disagreeing, or yeah, but I enjoyed it.
No, it's really good. Really loving it. Also, I have admitted defeat on mine and Chippy's bet, and I have booked to give blood in November. Chippy has booked the exact same time slot to make sure that I'm doing it because he doesn't believe me.
No, and I'll get photos for the pod.
So we will be.
Can we still hold it to account that
we can, because I can cancel that appointment. Yeah, I can cancel the appointment at any time.
You can't cancel an appointment. That's taken from charity now.
Yeah, you can't cancel the appointment. You're locked in now.
There's a button there that says cancel.
If Anna Carrasco scores a point, you still have to do your bike
Yes,
CBT and buy a motorbike.
I do. She won't though. She's doing even worse than I thought she would be this year.
Are you bringing that to Brant's?
No, that's an excuse to buy another bottle of whiskey. I've got a bottle of whiskey called the Sexton, which I did just buy because it's in a fancy bottle. It's in a little fancy bottle.
Have you actually tried it yet?
No, this is a new thing where I'm just going to try whiskey on the pod. just to buy whiskey and drink whiskey. If you're listening, just Google the Sexton and see the little fancy bottle. That's because it's nearly Halloween and it's got a picture of a skeleton on it. So I thought that was very.
Do you know what he's going to do, Chippy? He's going to open it and pour it, and he's going to go, "Oh, it's not bad, that."
That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Because all whiskey tastes the same.
No, it doesn't. You can't tell me. No, you can't tell me that Glenmorangie tastes like Lefroy. They don't
all
taste anything
exactly
like each
the
other.
same.
No, you've never tried whiskey properly. Have you ever tried a peaty whiskey?
I don't know.
I don't like peaty whiskey.
No, you've never tried it. You've never tried Jura, in my opinion. Jura is really, really smooth. Or you get some caramelly ones. Or you get like Talisker or Lefroy, which are really peaty, completely different.
I've had Lefroy because we've had that.
Yeah,
I'm sure we had that together.
Yeah. Me and you, actually, Chippy, when we were in Cyprus in that Irish bar, we had a Bushmills each.
Did we?
Yeah, you probably.
I think I've drunk more whiskey than I've realised.
And I've introduced you, Ash, to Macallan's. Was that it?
Yes, Macallan is very, very nice. I do like that.
Yeah. And I keep telling you to drink Bunnahabhains, but you never try it.
I know.
And we do live in malt whiskey country.
If I lived where you lived, I would be. Every weekend would be a pilgrimage. Every weekend.
He'd be one of these. He'd be one of these guys walking around Elgin with about 3 teeth, like. Rah!
No, my favourite author. He's passed away, but Ian Banks, or Ian M. Banks, where he does his sci-fi stuff. He wrote a book. He was commissioned to write a book, and he just went up round that area. Just read a book about whiskey whilst travelling around drinking whiskey, and that is one of my ambitions in life: is to travel up the north of Scotland, where you live, with that Ian Banks book called Raw Spirit, just trying different whiskies and reading that book on a motorbike. Oh, that is my dream. That right there, my dream. Anyway, I'm going to try this.
Does he go to Glenmurray?
He goes to all of them.
Oh.
Well, not all of them. I'm sure there's a lot of them.
What's your whiskey like?
It's really smooth. It's not too harsh in the back of the throat. It's kind of sweet. I think it's brewed in like a sherry cask or something.
Sherry casks usually the nice. I like sherry cask. I like port cask especially.
Yeah, it's got a nice
very
little.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. I enjoy that.
Because Chippy just like he's not talking about whiskey.
It all tastes exactly the same. I maintain that.
It doesn't.
It does. Anyway.
Right. Should we smash on with the motorbikes? Because that's why
people
are listening to this pod. Well, unless Chippy wants to give us some, because he wasn't here last week.
Yes.
He wants to tell us what he thought of the show.
Yes, so I've... hang on, let me just find it. I've wrote it a bit further down. So my notes were... Ash said last week about having 14,000 views on his Blackbird review, which I was then thinking that is the same as like a championship football game, the crowd in there. So if somebody like Blackburn Rovers or QPR, the crowd in that stadium is like the same amount of people that have watched that video, which I thought was quite impressive.
But it's them walking in, watching it for 30 seconds and turning and walking back out again.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, they haven't stayed there for the whole match.
And it's actually, since that podcast, it's gone up to 15,000 now.
Ah, it's getting close to that
1,000
Leeds
viewers
United.
in a week.
Yeah.
So I've got a question to ask. Where's your next video?
Oh, don't. I keep forgetting.
You've recorded
sorry.
it though, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got loads of footage.
No,
I've got to sift through it all.
Secretly, every day he's going back out retracing his steps with his GoPro to remake it.
I'm having to
Like,
sift through it all.
editing pictures
I've
of his
got,
dad
honestly,
in the background.
I've got about 4 hours worth of footage, riding footage. So I need to sift
Motorcycle
through
riding
it.
footage.
Yes, not me with my dad.
No, you said that. I was thinking something else. You just put a
Well,
whole
no, you
different
just said
picture in my head.
trying to Photoshop your dad in it. Like,
4
what's
hours
relevance to
of
that?
your dad. Right. That just took a dark, sinister turn.
Well, yeah, it's not like I'm riding my dad, is it? Anyway,
Anyway,
Dad, if you
Right,
listen to
Chippy,
this,
this week it's your turn to do the Who Am I?
yes.
what about? Do I not need to speak about my one? Last week's.
Well, basically what I meant to say is we're going to do Who Am I, right? So I was going to segue into that. I wasn't. I forgot. But let's segue into that.
I know you have, yeah.
You did Who Am I last week. We've only had one.
Bollocks to Ash. Bollocks to Ash. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah,
You-
the
we
Who
just
Am I
think
last
first.
week. The clues were: was born on the 25th of March, 1899 in New Zealand. Set the land speed record of 178.95 mile per hour on a motorcycle under 1000cc. And in 2005, they made a film about this rider and his journey to fame, and was played by Anthony Hopkins. Now, Chippy,
Yes.
you hadn't got a clue.
Not a clue.
You didn't have a Scooby. Sam, you got it. Who was it?
Burt Monroe.
Yeah, and the film was The Fastest Indian, which is a really, really good movie.
I have seen that movie about 15 times.
It's great. I have as well. It's so good.
I've never
As you can
seen
imagine,
it.
it's very popular. in New
Chippy,
Zealand.
you should watch it.
All the hostels in New Zealand all have a copy in the lobby.
I'll put it on my list.
Being a Kiwi.
Definitely put it on your list. It's worth it.
Yeah.
And Silver
So, Chippy-
Dream Racer, whatever it's called.
Who am I? It's a
Yes.
secret. Come on.
It's a secret. So, the first clue, I was born in Chester in 1978. I have run a BSB team as well as competed in BSB as a rider. And the third and final clue is I'm a lap record holder at the Isle of Man TT. It's quite tough this week. I wouldn't have got it from them clues.
1978, you say?
Yes.
Right. So that's... Alright, just try to work out.
Well, hold on.
stages.
What was the last
Sat there
clue?
twiddling your new moustache. I'm a lap record holder at the Isle of Man TT.
1978.
No, whenever you say that, I am a lap. Are you saying that he is a current lap record holder, or he has been a lap record holder?
Believe
Because I am suggests that he still is, not that I was. And you know how
Believe-
pedantic I am, Chippy. I would like the right information.
current lap record holder they are.
Current lap record holder, Chester.
Chester.
I have
What
a
sort
feeling
of-
I know who it is. But
What sort
Go
of
on,
accent
message
do they
me.
have in Chester?
Not
I'm
like
just-
Mank.
I'm trying to think of how old he
Chester.
is, though.
From Chester. My name's Gary and I like cake from Chester.
The guy
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking of, I think he might actually be too young.
Well, don't say anything because you gave it away a couple of
No,
weeks ago.
no.
If
give
you
nothing
think
away.
you've got it, just message me privately, and because that is the official rule now, not just the unwritten
So
rule.
say the second clue again.
Do you want me to go through them all again?
Yeah, go for them all again.
So the first one is I was born in Chester in 1978. I have run a BSB team as well as competed in BSB as a rider. I am a lap record holder at the Isle of Man TT.
No, it's not what I was thinking of then.
As a lap,
Anyway.
right, we're gonna have to crack on with the show and think about that one.
Yes. Stumped
Straight up,
you.
I hadn't got a clue. But I can't think about it. Whenever you're gabbing at some stage, I'll try and
Yes.
think about it. If you would like to contact us with the answer to the Who Am I, you can send us an email at podcast@bigbadbs.co.uk. Don't worry if you have to Google it, that's fine. We'll read your name out in the show, we'll read your answer out in the show, and any other comments you want to give with it. Just get involved. So after that, we're going to move on with any news that we've got for this week, Chippy.
Well, unfortunately, we haven't got any news.
Right, let's move on.
No,
Well,
wait.
we've made that joke before.
But there are a couple of bits which I was just going to cover. So, things that I've heard over the weekend. Pecco Bagnaia, earlier in the season, had a 62-point lead in the MotoGP, and it's now down to 3. So Jorge Martin has done a Pecco Bagnaia, which considering how far he was behind last year, and he caught up to win the championship, he's now gone completely the other way. I just thought that was worth noting because I thought it was quite impressive. And finally, found out Richard Cooper, he's won every single race in the F900 Cup this year, and he's topped every practice session as well.
Yes, well,
Which I thought that was also quite
he's
impressive.
not exactly. Well, he's got a little bit of competition in the F900, but he is completely in a league of his own for the F900.
Yes.
Yeah. It's almost a mockery that he's in it.
Yes.
I mean, you even said when we first started doing this podcast, when we heard about this, Chippy, you were like, "Oh, he's just going to piss it."
Yeah.
And he has done.
The only reason not the only reason, obviously it's his money, he can pay to be in whatever championship he wants to be. He maybe likes the F900 Cup because he can dip his toe into super sport or super stock or whatever, but not be the full-time commitments. Maybe he likes spending more time with his family or whatever. But
Yes.
the only reason we thought maybe the BSB paddock would push for it was to give the competition, the championship, a little bit of legitimacy. But yeah, it does kind of just make the whole championship look a bit.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, at least he's going to get a trophy.
yeah,
That's
yes.
true. I mean, he's
Fair
only 30 points ahead in the championship. He could. I mean, it'd take a miracle, but I don't think it's officially won yet.
No,
But it's pretty much guaranteed.
it's
Hopefully, he doesn't do it next year. I don't want him to do it again next year. He's made his point now. Move on to something else. Do Super Sport next year. Anyway, moving on to the confirmed rides for this week. Axel Bassani is going to replace Johnny Ray at Kawasaki in World Supers.
That surprised me, to be honest.
It did surprise me as well, but I think it is a good move for both of them. I think he's a really good rider.
It was kind of surprising, but one of the things that surprised me most was why none of us thought of it, because it was
Yeah.
like he didn't get his factory move to Ducati, so, and he wants a factory ride. He probably wants to be the man within a team, even though Alex Lowe's might have something to say about that. He's going to want to be the number one in that team now.
Yes.
But I think them two will be a good match for each other. Axel Bassani and Axel Bassani?
Yeah.
Axel Bassani and Alex Lowe's. Alex and Axel. The Alexes. That's going
Double A.
Yeah, but I think that'll be a good. I think that'll be good between them. See who comes up as top Ducati. But you look at yeah, of course. But you look at the Kawasaki at the minute, and if you take Johnny Ray off it, I know he didn't have a great weekend, but if you take Johnny Ray off the Kawasaki, it's a bit like if you take Top Rack away from the Yamaha, apart from the fact they're putting Johnny Ray onto it, that makes a difference. But if you take Johnny Ray away from the Kawasaki, where is it?
Yeah.
Is Axel Bassani going to fill those bits, or
Big
Not
boots to
straight away, I
fill.
don't think.
big bits to fill?
massive boots to fill.
I think it's, I don't know, I think it might be a year or two, a long time before we see Kawasaki back there again. There were even rumours, they were even hinting at Kawasaki's thinking of leaving it completely.
Oh, I hope not.
Yeah.
The next one, Ayumu Sasaki to ride for the VR46 Yamaha Master Camp team in Moto2 next year.
Yeah, I'm not surprised in
good
that.
for him to have a
Sasaki moving up.
Yeah, Sasaki moving up.
He might be moving up as a champion.
Could be. I want Masia to win it though.
Sasaki might be one of them champions that wins a championship without ever winning a race.
Yes.
Well, like a Johan Mir.
Mm.
He does
Just
win a
sort
race.
of come out of nowhere. Yeah, alright, well.
He almost.
No, hang on.
Yeah.
You almost did it.
And the final one, Danny Kent confirmed at Martrain Yamaha for 2024, replacing Jack Kennedy.
Right.
Do you think he'll do much there?
I think he will. I don't think he'll do much more than Jack Kennedy did, though.
So what's going to happen with the team that he's in at the minute?
I think they've
that
gone
was
bust.
his team, are they?
Well, I think it's his sponsors team, really. But
Yeah,
I think
you
they've gone
mentioned that
bust,
before.
and yeah,
They got no
which is a
bus.
shame. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well-
the confirmed rides. I don't know if I've missed anybody. Apologies if I have. And then there's just a little bit of silly season. I heard this at the weekend, and I really hope it's true. Shaky Byrne wants to run a BSB team with Yamaha, and I was thinking Brad Ray has to be the obvious choice for one of the rides, as he was BSB champion on a Yamaha. He's supposedly unsettled where he is now, and Shaky Byrne is his manager and mentor.
Well,
So
he's
what-
not doing a lot in World Supers, is he?
Not yet. I mean, it is his first season, but yeah, I don't think he's.
I
He
can't.
needs-
I can't.
I'd like him
Can't
to stay
see
in
him
World
doing much
Supers.
in World Supers.
I'd like him to stay in World Supers, but at a better team.
I'd like him to stay on World Superbikes. There's something. That's just my opinion. So it's a throwaway comment. If you can listen to it or take it or not, but I always think when a rider goes into World Superbikes or a world stage and does 1 year, and for some reason it doesn't work, maybe the bike doesn't work or whatever, and then they just come back to the Road Championship and start winning again. I'm just like, well, what? Just stand up to the challenge. Just stand up to the challenge a bit. Like Brad Ray's young, he's got plenty of time to come back to. Like even if he does 3 or 4 years in World Superbikes and it doesn't work, if he comes back to British Superbikes, he'll still get a ride. Josh Brook's still get a ride.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He'll still be given a bike, he'll still get a ride, and he'll still be young enough and talented enough to win the British Superbike. So it just doesn't. It just rubs me up the wrong way whenever a rider. I'm not saying Brad Ray will do this, but whenever a rider goes and does it once, and then just comes back and does it again.
Yeah.
Like it kind of annoyed
I'm
me a
with
little
you
bit.
on that.
It kind of annoyed me a little bit that. What's his name? Shaky Stevens.
Shaky Byrne.
Shaky Burns. Shaky Burns. Every time I say his name, I want to think of Shaky Stevens, that singer. No, Shaky Burns are like, he won the British Superbikes 5 times. And you're like, oh, he's won 6 times. And he's like, oh, he won the British Superbikes more times than anybody else. Oh, he's amazing. And I was like, well, that's just because he wasn't good enough to do World Superbikes. Because if he was good enough to do World Superbikes, he would have stayed in World Superbikes. And then he wouldn't have won British Superbikes 6 times.
Yeah.
Or like Keenan Sofwoglu, who won the World Supersport like year after year. And it's like, well, why does he not move on to something else? He just keeps coming back and winning the same championship. You know, it kind of comes back to that whole Richard Cooper and the F900 Cup. He's just too good for it. Well, move up then.
Yes.
So and that's where I kind of come with that whole... Now, I'm not going to go at Shaky Burns. Obviously, he's a phenomenal rider. If he wants to stay on British Superbikes is, in many ways, a peak. You know what I mean? But I just think for Brad Ray to do 1 year World Superbikes, yes, it didn't work out. He maybe wasn't a good bike. To just turn around and come back because he's had a good offer in British Superbikes, to me, just looks like you're coming back with your tail between your legs a little bit. Like, at least stand up to the challenge, give it a few years, and then, like I say, that's just my opinion.
I mean, he would be going back into a good team, but I know what you mean. I'd rather him stay in World Supers and try and challenge.
Yeah.
Give it another year at least.
Yeah, at least try
Like,
and battle towards the top 10.
If you do 2 or 3 years and it's not working out, and you can look back and say, well, I was never given the bike, I was never really given the opportunity, fine. Come back, win British Superbikes again, prove that you are still a decent rider, and it was because you didn't get the bike. But just to come back after 1 year, I just think it's a bit defeatist, maybe is the word I'm looking for.
Yes. Yep.
But then World Superbikes isn't exactly the championship where we need British talent to stay in there to wave the British flag. There's a lot of British riders in there. There always has been.
Yeah. True. The other one, which I've written down, who are we thinking to replace Axel Bassani at Ducati? I was thinking Gian Antonio, because he hasn't got anywhere confirmed yet, has he?
Is he actually leaving though?
He's got to be, any surely. Although if Marquez doesn't take that Grassini ride, who are they going to get in?
Exactly. If Marquez doesn't take the Grassini ride, they'll maybe have to stick with Gian Antonio. Because if they're at the position where it's like, well, we don't want to give the ride to anybody else, because if we give it to anybody else, then we can't give it to Marquez. So we have to wait until see if Marquez can take the ride, and that might go on, and that might go on and on and on. And while that's happening, they'll just have to keep Gian Antonio. Unless they've got another rider just lined up. But a rider that they have just lined up, you have to imagine is not going to be in the position to walk into the bike and do any justice. They wouldn't do any better than Gian Antonio, because anybody that would already have a ride.
Yes.
So Grassini Ducati's put themselves in this real sort of catch-22. They need to keep Gian Antonio so that Marquez can fill that. But then where does Gian Antonio go last minute if Marquez comes in? Does he just is he going to be left with nowhere to go at all?
World Superbikes.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But if he goes to World Superbikes, what if they're already full?
Yeah, that's true.
World Super Sport, the Ducati there that Belega was on.
Have a year out and find himself.
Yeah, or whatever. Back down to Moto2, there's an option there.
Yeah. I've just realised one off silly season that I have missed was Gigi Deligna? Is that how you say it? He confirmed this week that Marquez has accepted the offer of Grassini. He wants to go to Grassini, but apparently now he's got to break his complicated Honda contract.
So he said in Italian media that the offer's there and they're willing to take him and they want him and they're ready for him, but it's up to Marc Marquez himself to break. So I think he's basically come in and said that Ducati's not going to pay in any way for him to get out of his contract. Has to be him. And the numbers, the amount that's floating around, something like £20 million or 20 million euros or something to get out of it, which is probably not very much to Marc Marquez. He's worth quite a bit.
Yes.
And he'll make that back, or at least some of it. But yeah, that's a lot of money. But did you see it now in the social media with his interview at the end of the race about his podium and MotoGP?
No, I missed that.
Well, he was him and Pecco Bagnaia. I don't know who else was there, but this is the only two I've seen. But they were asking Marc Marquez about how he felt about getting a podium, and he said it was a very romantic podium. It was a nice way, because he got the podium in Japan. And he says it was a nice romantic podium. And then Pecco Bagnaia just goes, "Bye-bye, Honda." And Marquez looking at him like, "No, what are you talking about?" Like, he just stirring the pot, because it's a romantic way to say goodbye to Honda. He got him a podium in Japan, and now he's going to leave. But I'm still not sure if he is going to jump or not.
No,
well,
I keep
hope
changing
if he
my
does, I hope if he does, then he makes me eat my words.
Yeah, I hope he does as well.
I hope he does. Because it was great to see him on the podium again.
Are you going to admit that you like him yet?
I've got this I've got this weird warming feeling towards him. It's like he's a phoenix that's risen out of the ashes, and he's coming back.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like he's, in a way, I always thought he was a bit of a knobhead, but now he's been injured. He's had a real tough time. He's come back, and he's coming back strong.
Mm.
To get a podium on that freaking Honda is something special, really, considering how crap it is.
Yes.
So maybe
it was raining.
Maybe if he goes to but there's been races recently where it hasn't been raining and he's got a podium.
Okay, and there because nobody had raced that
Doesn't
track
matter.
before.
Yes, and that just goes to show how much skill he's got on that Honda to get on the podium.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like what I said last
As a
night.
rider.
Just stealing what I said.
But right, well, suck my dick. I hope if he does go to Ducati, he does make me eat my words, and I hope he actually smashes it.
I think you're just saying that so whenever he does come back and smash with Ducati, you can be like, see, I always said he was good.
No, because I've never not said he's not good. I'm just saying I don't think he will do as well at Ducati as you two think he will. But I'm hoping he does.
Carl Crutchlow came out and said that if Marc Marquez gets on a Ducati, then the rest of the field might as well not turn up. That was his words. And he's red with
a great weekend, did he?
Didn't have a bad weekend.
Shite.
Anyway. What do you expect him to do?
Better than that.
He's comparing him to Danny Pedrosa because he was the test rider that Wildcard did.
Better than that. And the sprint race, I'm not sure if it was the sprint race or the feature race, but one of the races, the two Yamaha riders finished 16th, 15th and 16th. That's where they finished. I think Quartararo maybe finished 15th, Morbidelli finished 16th, and Carl Crutchlow finished 18th. So, what do you expect him to do? Do you expect him to be like 10 places in front of the two Yamaha riders on a bike that's exactly the same?
I would have liked to have thought it'd be in front of the other two Yamaha riders.
Why would he be? He's a test rider. Why would he be? And he's testing
Exactly,
parts.
he's got more knowledge on it.
No, but he's testing parts that they don't know if they work or not. That's why they're putting them in there to see how well they work.
Yeah, shite.
I think the fact you're saying that just shows you your ignorance and lack of understanding.
I just know how much you like Carl Crutchlow.
Yeah, I do like Carl Crutchlow, but you have to understand. You have to understand what he's up against on the Yamaha, and you can't compare.
But it is a shite bike,
and you can't compare him to Danny Pedrosa. Danny Pedrosa is like we've already said ourselves. He's one of, if not the best rider never to win the championship.
Mm. But he's still only a test rider.
Yeah. Very fucking good test rider, Danny Pedrosa.
Mm.
Moving
Miller.
on.
Carry on.
He's better than Jack
We
Miller.
called Jack Miller a test rider again. We've had, for the first time, some confirmed championships as well. So starting in World Superbikes, Nicolo Balega is a World Supersport champion.
It's going to shock that one.
Yes. Jeffrey Baus is World Supersport 300 champion.
Yeah, I didn't really pay a huge amount of attention to that championship, to be honest.
I didn't either, to be honest.
It was one of them where it was always on in the background. That was the time when I spent time with my kids.
Yes.
I was like punching them, playing with my kids. Oh, it's those books.
Yeah, it was one thing I put on if there was nothing else on.
Anna Carrasco won that championship a few years ago, didn't she?
She did.
She did, yeah. Shame she can't get a point in Moto3, don't it?
And Ducati are the World Superbike manufacturer champions as well.
Yes.
Well, that's no shock there, is it?
No.
Well, for a long time,
Have they won it in
Yamaha...
BS? So I was just going to ask if they've won it in MotoGP yet. I've got a feeling
Surely
they have, but I can't remember.
They must have. Who's going to come close to Ducati? Apart from another Ducati. Nobody's going to come close to Ducati in the MotoGP. Nobody.
KTM, maybe?
No. Unless Danny Pedrosa
They've
rides a bit more.
got to be second, surely.
Well, they have to be. Who else is going to be there? Yamaha or Honda?
Exactly.
Oh, Johan Mir 5 points. He's had a couple of good weeks as well, Johan Mir. Like I said last week in India that it was a leveler because none of them had read that track before. It came down to raw talent, and it was no surprise that it was the championship winners who were at the front. Quartararo was at the front. Johan Mir was up at the sharp end. Mark Marquez was up there.
Here's a question for you then. The constructors in MotoGP, at the minute, it's 5 constructors.
Yeah.
Who are you putting where? Obviously Ducati's first.
Yeah.
That goes without saying. What about second to fifth?
So the second's probably, I would say, Aprilia.
Ash?
I'm going to say KTM.
It is just KTM.
Whoa.
Only 32 points in it.
And then Aprilia's third.
Then Aprilia. And it's between Yamaha
And
and
then I
Honda.
would say
Yamaha's
Yamaha.
got to be fourth.
It's Honda at fourth.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Really?
142 points. Yamaha's 131.
Well, that's all Nakagami. That.
Nah, it's all Marquez with his podiums out.
Yeah, it's surprising you how many points you get for a podium.
Actually, it's probably Alex Rins, that win in Texas.
Yeah.
That helps. Got it for him not being able to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
just
Motegi.
I do like Alex Rins.
And MotoGP now has a gap of 1 week, and then it's a triple header, 3 weeks in a row. Then they've got another gap, and then it's another 3 weeks in a row.
Yes. It's good for us.
Should we just go on to some of the racing? We're already talking about MotoGP, so we'll just keep on talking about
Oh,
that.
yeah. Well, I was just going to very quickly just go over the BSB champions. So Benko is British Supersport champion. He said he wants to stay and defend the title next year.
Yeah.
Evan Belford has won the British Talent Cup, and he's promoted to the Red Bull Rookies for next year.
Well,
And
happy with
Cameron
that.
Fraser, yeah, that is good one to look out for. And Cameron Fraser is the GP2 champion.
They
Yes.
said on the BSB, they said that if what's his name, the guy that you don't like? Oh yeah, Tom Booth Amos. He was over in World Supers, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And they said if he turns up in the afternoon for the race, then he could still be given the chance to win the championship.
Yes.
And he didn't turn up.
Wow, it's a
Well-
long way to go from Portugal.
I know, but obviously, can you imagine that? I'd just be like, I'll just jump on a quick flight, go and rest
This
my
is the
bike,
thing.
I'll come
That's the
back.
thing that annoys me about Tom Booth Amos doing both championships. And I know I've said it before that he's had a lot of mechanical issues. And Chippy, you said that everybody has mechanical issues. I get that. That's fine. But Tom Booth Amos has, I think that's his second round, maybe his third even, but it's definitely his second BSB round that he's missed because he's been at World Superbikes. So not only is he missing rounds, he's had mechanicals, right? Mechanicals
Yeah.
happen, I understand that. What annoys me the most is he was at World Superbikes, well, World Supersport last weekend, and he went out in the first lap and his bike blew up. Didn't even get a whole lap. He barely even got off the start and finish and his bike blew up. I just thought that's a complete waste. Just wasting
yeah.
your time. And he's had a lot of mechanicals in British Supersport, and now he's having mechanicals in World Supersport, and it just makes me wonder if him as well as the team have just stretched too much. They just tried to take on too much.
If you were in his shoes, would you rather stay for the BSB and try and win the British Supersport Championship, or go out and finish sort of 6th, 7th, 8th at World Supersport?
If I was in his
We're
shoes,
not
I
even
would.
getting there, is he?
No. If I was in his shoes, I would straight up win the British Supersport, because I honestly think this year, if he would have just concentrated on the British Supersport, I think he would have won it.
Yeah,
He was
I do
second
as well.
in
Yeah.
he was second in the championship, and he missed rounds, and he did have some mechanicals. And everybody like Rhys Irwin's had mechanicals. Rhys Irwin's been taken out by Richard Cooper. They all have problems, of course they do, but it's just the fact that he then misses rounds on top of that. So I think if he'd have been there, and it's not only that he would have won races, he'd have then put more pressure on. I was going to say Sam Curry again, Ben Curry. So. Yeah, so I think if he had stayed just in British Superbikes, he would have won that championship. So I think realistically it's better. Like that would have been. He didn't have a good year in British or World Supersport anyway. So this year he could have just won British Supersport and then he could have tackled World Supersport next year, and the team with him could have tackled it. And I'm not sure whose decision it was. Was it a mutual decision? Was it the team's decision? Was he pushing for it? Who was pushing for this idea that they do both?
Yeah, not sure.
Like realistically, if you've got a team that are absolutely singing, all dancing, and they say, right, do the British Superbikes to keep yourself on the bike, but when it comes to British Supersport, but when it comes to World Supersport, that's your bread and butter, and we're going to win the championship. But they're not. You know, why would you sacrifice the British Championship just to dip your toe into World Championships? You know.
Yes. No, I agree.
So I think looking back, it was a mistake taking on both. And saying that, maybe him and the team are thinking we don't care if we win either. It's more about the experience. It's about learning from it. It's about gathering knowledge. And then next year or the year following that, they'll be a hell of a lot better. Who knows? I'm not on the bike. I'm not building the bike. I'm not running the team. But I just feel a bit more than they could chew.
Yes.
Oh, say we're doing like a silly seasons and confirmed rides and championships and stuff. I've heard a little rumour, I read a little rumour on social media that they might be dropping Cadwell and British Superbikes next year. Because they think, well, some people are suggesting that maybe because the Superbikes are just getting too fast for Cadwell now. And then other people are saying that they've heard they're going to drop Silverstone.
I thought if they were going to drop any, it'd be Knockhill.
I know, but if they don't go there, they're not going to Scotland. You know what I mean? That's them. That's British Superbikes taking it to Scotland outside of England. But the rumour I've heard was that they're going to have the first round of British Superbikes is going to be in Jerez, which makes sense because they test there. They do their testing there, and then a week later they can race there.
I'm going to do some research. Bear with me.
They used to go to Assen.
That's the thing.
And we've talked about this before. We've talked about this in this podcast a few times about whether British Superbikes should do a round outside of Britain, whether they should go to Assen, whether they should go to Spain, whether they should go to France.
Nah. Keep it British.
Yeah, but the tracks aren't big enough. Knockhill's a car park. It's ridiculous. 47 seconds. Notts Corner is as big as that. Notts Corner in Northern Ireland is just as big as that. And I cannot imagine the British Superbikes going to Notts Corner. It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. Now, I don't mind them going there, but if it's week in, week out, just going to little tracks that are getting too small for the bikes because the bikes are getting faster. That's why they want to go to these big international tracks. If you go to Assen, it's an opportunity to get the most out of the bikes. Or if they go to Jerez, or if they go to Magny-Cours a year. I loved it this week, Donington Park. Donington Park's class. But anyway, the reason I think Spain's come up is because they already do testing there. They go there at the start of the season. They go there at the start of the season to do their test, so it makes sense to have a race there as well. But what does rub me up the wrong way is the first race of the season for the British Superbikes shouldn't be in Spain. Like if it's the opening round of British Superbikes, it should be in Britain. Anyway, that's a rumour I heard on one of the BSB Facebook pages. The one where you like winding people up, Jimmy. Which is all of them. Which is all of them. At the weekend, just go. At this weekend, just go to any BSB Facebook page. All you had to do was write Tommy Bridewell. That's all you had to write, and you just get a string, or just write. Oh, somebody opened up the gate for the C-bomb for the first time because I was like, I'm not the biggest fan of Tommy Bridewell. I never was. I don't dislike the guy that much, but I was never his biggest fan because he's racing against Glenn Irwin, who I like. But I was really cross this weekend, and I was like, I can't write what I want to write because A, I'm emotional, and it's just there's no point. And then I was looking through the posts and somebody had dropped the C-bomb, so I just liked it. I was like, I'm not going to do it, but somebody else did, because I wouldn't put that on Facebook like that. Somebody was on Facebook saying, Glenn Irwin obviously can't ride a bike, he didn't even finish the race. And I was like, yeah, because it's his fault Tommy Bridewell ran into him. That's his fault. That's why he just can't ride a bike. But right, shall we start talking about the actual races that happened over the weekend?
Yes, let's do that.
MotoGP, really?
Yes, the MotoGP.
This is
the sprint race wasn't very good, was it?
This is definitely the shit show. The sprint race wasn't very good. It was kind of like just take off and let them go and follow each other around the track, and which I don't mind watching. To be honest, I can watch that for 10 laps.
Yeah, it's not very long, is it?
But compared to the feature race, which was like, obviously it was the first flag to flag we've had since 2021. It's the first time that's happened, so that was an absolutely incredible race. And any other weekend, I think that would have been the talking point of the weekend. Well, especially from our point of view. Obviously, if you just watch MotoGP, it was a massive talking point. But from our point of view, who watch everything, that was, just paled in comparison to what happened later on. But yeah, it was a good race, good flag-to-flag race. I like them races as well. It's exciting whenever they have to come in.
It is good. But I'd still rather see a dry race.
No, I like it. I like it when they have to change bikes. It's good.
See a dry race and just see Jorge Martin take off into the distance, even though that's what he done in the rain as well. I think he won it by like 7 seconds or something, even when he was in the rain.
The thing is, because we had rain at Donington this weekend, and I think it really spoiled the races, the wet races.
Well, we had a question about this, ages ago on the podcast, about whether the rain. And you were all like, I'm on the fence, I don't know. And I was the only one that came out and said, no, it's bullshit, I don't like the rain. And now you're changing your mind.
No. I like a dry race, but I do like it when they have to change bikes. It's fun. It's good to watch.
I prefer it in MotoGP because, I don't like it whenever it starts to rain and they stop the race and it's a red flag. I like it whenever there's a chance of rain. If it rains, we're not red flagging it. It's going to be a flag to flag. You have to come in and change your bike. But I have been made aware through reading articles and to other media. I have been made aware of a little problem that arises with this flag to flag race. So you're on a bike with dry settings.
Yeah.
Slicks on. Your bike's set up for a dry race. It might rain, but you're hoping it doesn't rain. So your bike's set up for a dry race. Everything's set up for a dry race. Everything. That also includes your equipment. So your helmet as well.
Yeah.
So your helmet's set up for a dry race. Because the helmets used for wet weather racing is different from the helmets used for dry weather racing. But whenever it comes to a flag to flag race and they have to change bikes, they come in, they change bikes, but nobody changes the helmet.
No.
And that's why none of them could see. That's why they're all putting their hands up and saying, I can't see. Because their visor was steaming up so bad because it was the wrong helmet. They had the wrong helmets on. They all had dry weather helmets on. They didn't have their rain helmets on.
Yeah, because it would have been letting loads of moisture into the vents on the tops and the sides and stuff.
Yeah. So that's obviously a safety concern with a flag to flag. And it annoyed me it annoyed me as well. Again, I don't want a race to go on. I don't want a race to happen until such point that somebody falls off and gets injured. I don't want that to happen. But you get the lap times that Jorge Martin was doing, and Bender was doing, and Bagnaia was doing. Hold on, that's a sprint race I won. Brad Bender come off actually. So you get Jorge Martin. You get the lap times he was doing. I know they weren't really fast, but he wasn't exactly slow. He wasn't taking it as easy as what they used to years ago in the rain. From a spectator's point of view, I was looking at it and I thought, well, these guys are riding around here fine in the rain.
Yeah.
I didn't really get why they red flagged it so quick.
I think it was mainly because they couldn't see. Like you say.
Because they had the wrong helmets on.
Yeah. It was just, there was that much spray. Just couldn't see. And there was a hell of a lot of surface water. A hell of a lot. So
apparently Motegi is really bad for the spray.
It looked awful. It just, you could see the people that were like sort of in 4th, 5th, and 6th, and it was just a cloud. They were coming through the mist.
It's weird with the rain because you hear the commentators say, the guys that have actually been out riding, so you don't want to be the first guy because the first guy doesn't know where the grip is. He doesn't know where the grip level is. He doesn't know where to brake. He doesn't know where to turn. But in saying that, when it's like what it was like in Motegi, you want to be the first guy because there's so much spray. You want to be at the front.
Yeah.
You don't want, like, maybe second at a push, but the guys that were like in 6th and 7th, they couldn't see a thing.
They were in a cloud.
That was ridiculous. I was watching it, I was thinking, the speed these guys are going, I understand why they red flagged it when you look at it that way, but
yeah,
there's only 2 people come off in that race. Brad Binder come off, and
Zarco, wasn't it?
And Zarco come off after the red flag. How do you feel about?
Oh yeah, he did.
How do you feel about Zarco? First of all, not being allowed to restart the race, and then ultimately not being given any points. How do you feel about that? That annoys me, to be honest.
If it's after the red flag, he should have got points because the race is concluded.
Yeah,
then.
but do you know why he wasn't allowed to go in the restart?
No.
Ash?
I kind of skipped past this bit.
No. I just used it because I had to catch up on all the bikes. I just used the timestamps. So.
I'm giving the thumbs up to my co-hosts for the amount of effort they've put into preparing for this podcast. So,
is it because he had to change tyres?
No. So he changed tyres. Did you see the state of his bike? The whole thing was just gone. He was basically carrying it was like one of them cartoons where he was carrying a set of handlebars back, and that was it. No, so he went under that tunnel. You know where there's like a tunnel. He went under the tunnel and he was going around a left-hand turn, which takes you near the start and finish. It takes you near the pit entrance. But he crashed there, and then because there was a red flag, he was in that fight. You got 5 minutes to get your bike back. So him and the marshals were getting the bike up, and he went down the wrong way to take his bike to the pits. Now there's a picture of it. If you go on to Simon Patterson's Twitter, he's put a picture on. So he's put one green line saying that's where he should have went, and he's put a red line saying that's where he did go, and they are identical to each other. Like, they are absolutely it's ridiculous. And they said he can't restart the race because he didn't use the proper pathway to get back into the pits.
Well, that's pretty shitty then, really, isn't it?
And then
I see.
And then what happened was they went to restart the race, okay? But they went to restart the race, and then that's whenever the clerk of the course, the officials were like, look, it's just too wet, we're going to call it, and we're going to give full points. Now that means they're giving full points at the point of the red flag. But then they said Zarco doesn't get any points, even though he was 6th at the time. He doesn't get any points because he didn't make it back to the pits within 5 minutes. It's like, but he didn't use the correct lane to get up pit lane. And you can see it was right beside it. That's ridiculous. But yet and all, in Silverstone, Bagnaia is allowed to ride in the green and get away with it because they don't have any censors at Silverstone. And because it's Italian.
Well, yeah, it sounds like they were just trying to. Well, it was one thing after another, just trying not to give him any points, doesn't it? But yeah, it's pretty ridiculous if he was in the right area, but obviously it's the wrong lane. Does it really matter that much? Well, clearly it does, but
it doesn't even raise any health and safety concerns. There's if anything, the way Zarco went was safer because it takes him further away from the actual track, which was absolutely soaking. So anybody could have come round the corner and crashed. So it would make sense to go the safer way. But the bike wasn't bits. His bike was in bits.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. Yeah, because the marshals were pushing the bike behind him, weren't they?
Oh, it was ridiculous. It just seemed a little bit like I know there's rules, and I know the rules are there for a reason, but that just seemed a little bit petty, in my opinion. It, like,
Yes, I agree.
But the rules are the rules, aren't they? Unless they don't like it and then they just change them.
well, I know you think that rules is rules, because God forbid you even open the bag of crisps at 9 in the quiet area. Don't open them crisps.
Right.
I'm trying to sleep. There'll be no sleeping down at Brands Hatch, boy. There'll be no sleeping at Brands Hatch.
Oh God, I'm gonna go stay in the hospitality truck.
We're in a bender. I'm going in a bender, boy.
I'm not.
The last time,
Please make him do it.
the last time I go to a motorbike race, I pitch up, I sit down, and it's usually a big crate of Doom bar, and that's me all day. I just sit there and drink. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to Brands Hatch and I'm just going to sit there and get pissed. I don't mind helping out hospitality, but I'll probably be drunk. And that's not even. I'm not even exaggerating. I'm going to be drinking all day. I'm watching bikes. I'm going to be drinking.
It's all right. We'll set you up in a nice little area, and I'll go help out, and I'll come back to you.
Obviously, the Sunday I'm going to be driving back home, so I'll be sober. But the Saturday, you can rest assured, I'm going to be drunk. I can't wait.
Oh,
I'm not going to get pissed.
Thing is, Ash, you'll get there and you'll be in the mood then.
No, I won't.
Obviously, Sam
No,
cracking open the beer.
Ash,
You will.
you haven't seen me
You will.
face to face in nearly 2 years.
yeah.
Are you really going to refuse a beer with your old pal? 2 years.
I'm not allowed to at the moment.
Okay.
Ooh.
Right. Do you want to talk about Moto 2?
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Obviously, Chantra and Agora, that was probably going to be a given that they were going to do very well because it's their neck of the woods, isn't it?
Well, Azagura's, not really Chantra's, but...
Well, no, because
That's
is he,
just racist.
No, it's not. Is he from the Philippines, Chantra? Is he Thai? Thai, yeah. Well,
I
it's
don't know
the
how-
same neck of the woods, isn't it?
I don't know how much time he's spent in the Asia Cup, or if he's raced the Asia Cup or not. His neck of the woods. That's like saying somebody from England can go over to Spain and just win a race at Spain because it's their neck of the woods.
I'm crap at geography.
Yeah,
I
we
just thought they
know.
were pretty close by.
I think everybody looks the same.
I mean, it is only like 4,300 kilometres away.
Yes.
Is it
only.
really that far
So, yeah,
away
it's-
from each other?
It's just next door to
It's
each other. Isn't it, really?
Thailand.
Well, I'm very sorry,
Thailand.
Chantra.
Your geography is terrible. I thought you'd been to Thailand. Did you not go to Thailand?
No, I've never been to Thailand. My brother's been 4 times. I haven't been. Sorry, Chantra. I thought it was sort of that area, but I was clearly wrong.
Thought they were next door neighbours.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even though there's Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam. and
All
I
right,
think a whole
but
load-
this is what I mean.
and a
I'm
whole
not very
entire
good at
ocean in
geography.
between them as well. I think China might be there too. China might be in the way as well.
I've been to China. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Chantra.
But
Agora.
being from Thailand, there is an Asia Cup. It's a bit like the British Superbike. They've got an Asia Cup, but I don't know if he's ever raced in the Asia Cup or been part of it. And I would imagine the fact is there a Thai Grand GP?
I think there was. I don't know if there still is.
I'm just thinking that. As
I'm
an
sure they've
opportunity-
been to Thailand.
Yeah, but if there's not around at the minute, as an opportunity for fans from Thailand, it's probably the closest place they're going to get. Or do
Yeah.
they go to Malaysia?
Chantra won the Asia Talent Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
So
There's a fact.
So he probably has raced at Motegi before. I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Dennis Onchu won it as well. And Sasaki.
Dennis Onchu won the Asia Talent Cup.
Hmm.
I suppose he's Turkish. Turkey kind of falls in that weird sort of geographical place. As it...
It's just same neck of the woods.
As a Europe. No, but I think is Turkey not involved in like the European Union or something, or they're close to it, or they're like associate or something?
No, they're not. I don't think they're. Well, I think they want to be in NATO, don't they? But they're not in NATO.
Are they not usually like in the football? Are they usually in the Euros?
Not sure.
I can't remember.
And are they in the Eurovision Song Contest?
Yeah, but Australia are in the Eurovision Song Contest. You know what I mean? All part of Europe.
Anyway, Moto 2.
Yeah, we digressed there, didn't we?
Yes, did a bit.
It wasn't a really memorable race, was it?
It wasn't, but I think Jake Dixon held his own. He did quite well, I thought, even if he got fourth.
Yeah, he did all right, finishing fourth. Did he qualify at the top? He qualified front, did he not?
He did.
Yeah, he was the front. He had a good start as well, if I remember rightly.
He did, yeah.
Did Lopez not try and run into him again at the start of the race?
Yeah, I think he did, yeah.
And then he was just like, I'm just happy Lopez has to take a little double long lap penalty, which was he got for riding into him in India. But
yeah,
I think it's safe to
Well, I only saw the first 4 laps.
Yeah.
Because you told me to skip to the
end.
end.
Well, the thing was, I skipped quite a lot of. I was watching it and I was catching up in Moto 2, and I watched like 5 or 6 laps, and then I just skipped about 10 minutes, so I got another like 8 or 9 laps through, and they were all in exactly the same position. And I was like, well, I'm glad I didn't watch them last 10 laps, because that looked a bit boring. And then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to skip to the end. I skipped to the end, and they were all in the exact same position. There was no passing, no overtaking, nobody crashed, nothing happened. I just thought, well, there you go. That's why I can't remember. I forgot that, Chippy, until you just told me there now. And now I remember Moto 2 was a bit shit. Which is fair enough. You get good races, you get, mediocre races. Yeah, Chantra won, Agura came second. It was one of them races where you thought the Asian riders, especially the Japanese riders like Agura, are going to step up and try and... But then again, you got Acosta who did finish third, so I think he's pretty much got a hand on that championship.
Yes. Yeah, it was all right. It was okay, like you say, towards the end. Because I was actually watching it, and then you were telling me, "Oh, just skip to the end." I was like, "Wow, I've only got 9 laps left. I may as well watch the rest of it." Like you say, nothing really changed.
And you don't really want to see people come off, but I just skipped to the end, and I was like, "Well, that was very uneventful, that race," because it was like I took a picture of like lap 4 and went to the last lap, and it was exactly the same.
Sam Lowe's did his usual, our go-to guy for the racing.
It's a shame, wasn't it, when he came off?
I'm kind of every Moto2 race now. I'm just going into it expecting he's going to come off. I know it sounds really bad, but
yes,
he's just on a real crashing spree at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah. Roll on World Superbikes, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now he's watched Moto 3.
Yes.
I did, yes. Which was, I believe Mizia, he led for the most of it, didn't he?
Yeah, and he won it by like a second and a half. It wasn't. It wasn't the runaway landslide one that he got in India, but yeah, he got it by like a second and a half.
I was expecting, I was hoping that Sasaki would win that one actually.
Sasaki's not going to win a race, but he has going to win the championship.
No, I think Messia's got it. I think he'll win it.
You think so?
Is David Alonso still in with a chance?
Wow.
It's like 80 points behind, I think, or something. It's quite far back.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably not.
No, he's 39 points back.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah.
I thought it was more
80
than that.
Points. No, he's 39. He's got 160 points. Messia's got 199. He's 39 points behind him. Still in with a shout. He's got 6 rounds.
Yeah, still in with a shout then.
Still 150 points to race for.
I don't think he's going to do it.
So it's tight at the top.
I'd like it if Dip.
It's tight at the top. Messia's got 199 points. Sasaki's got 193. And Holgado's got 190.
Well, before the race started, there was 1 point between 3 of them.
Now there's 9. I think Messia's just going through a purple patch. I think he's going to fall off again. Not fall off as in literally fall off. Figuratively, I think he's going to fall off. I think he's just going through a good spell at the minute. The way Holgado went through his good spell, I think Macia's going through his good spell, and I think that I don't think he's going to keep winning the way he is, and he's only 6 points in front of Sasaki, who is insanely consistent. Anything else on Moto3?
No, so it wasn't really an eventful race, was it? It was just keep an eye on them 4 at the front until Dennis Onchu threw it away.
Oh, that's right, Dennis Onchu. He was being a little dick, wasn't he?
It was about 2 laps before he fell off.
We were messaging each
you
other.
could see his head was going.
Who was it he was pissing off? Who was he all over the top of? It was Sasaki and Holgado, was it not?
Yeah, I think it was Sasaki, because it wasn't very like him to start waving his arms, but he was getting annoyed with him.
Sasaki was right behind Macia, and they were racing, and then I'm not sure if Holgado was there, but Dennis Onchu was there as well, and the three of them, and there were still about 12 laps to go or something, and the three of them were just following each other around, and it's like, right, fair enough, if you think you can get to the front, but he tried to pull a move in Sasaki, they lost some time, and then it was obvious that Dennis Onchu didn't have the pace, so Sasaki got past him, and it's kind of like let's just use your head here, get back up, and at the last lap, if you want to do some stupid move to try and win the race, fair enough, but let's just use your head, and he just kept being a little dick, and just...
Yeah.
And he was impeding it.
It's like his head had gone at that point.
He was impeding himself as much as he was Sasaki. It's like, just stay behind the faster rider, get up to, like, catch Macia, and then by all means, in the last lap or the penultimate lap, last 2 laps, you know, figuratively do whatever it takes to get to the late. That's the time you do a stupid dive to try and get first or second, whatever. But not when there's 12 laps to go. You just go to ruin everybody's race. And then...
Exactly.
I don't like to see people fall off, but whenever he fell off and they got back up and he was walking away, and I knew he was safe and he wasn't injured, I just kind of thought, you know what, that's probably better, because you're just fucking ruining Suzuki's race and you're just making a dick of yourself.
Yes.
A little bit like Marquez in 2015. So.
No.
Yes.
Hopefully he's learnt a lesson now.
Yeah, hopefully Marquez has wised up. Now he's been humbled. Oh, you mean Onchu? Yes, hopefully he's learned a lesson. No, he's not learned a lesson. Are you sure he did it 2 weeks?
Can we get onto BSB?
No, and when was he did it? A few weeks ago. He just came from like nowhere and just Gran Turismo'd somebody.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
he got.
did.
I can't remember who it was.
He got previous.
It was. No, it wasn't Aston, was it?
No, it was the one before India. What was before India?
I've got me.
Are we about Onchu now or Marquez?
Onchu.
Onchu. San Marino? Was it there?
Misano. Was it Misano? It was San Marino or Misano. It was one of them two.
I think it's the same place, isn't it?
I love how we always call it a Gran Turismo now as well.
Oh, that's just the thing, isn't
It's
it?
always a Gran Turismo.
A Gran Turismo pass, that's just it. I came up with that. That was me.
Yeah, Misano.
I think it was there. He just
came.
just absolutely rattled into somebody.
Yes.
I can't mind who it was.
Trying to find the track on Google Maps.
No, it must have been San Marino, sorry. Misano was a test. Right. Moto 3.
It's the same track.
Yeah, but I was looking at the test results. Right, same track.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't Misano, because he didn't, unless he got back on. Catalunya. Moto 3 results.
Was it there? Could have been there. I'm trying to think, because it's quite a fast last corner.
I don't think it was any further.
I don't think it was
He must have
Catalunya.
back in the bike. I'm not sure, but you know what I'm talking about.
I know the instant you're talking
I
about,
just
yeah.
don't have the memory straight up, and it's not something I was expecting to talk about, so I've not prepared for it. But yeah, it's got a bit of previous for doing that. Before we go on to BSB,
Yes.
do you want to talk about World Superbikes a little bit? There's not much to say.
There wasn't anything to say, was there?
Uh,
Apart from Bautista could have won the championship if things went right, but didn't, so it's carrying on to the last round. but it's inevitable he's going to win.
Yeah, did you hear the commentators
Yeah.
keep trying to big it up like it's not over yet? Oh, it's not.
Yeah.
Because obviously they have to try and get people to watch the finale because that's what they're contracted to do by TNT. And it's like, come on, it's over. But Top Rack in the second race, Top Rack went over the line. You see him punching his bike, broke his visor.
Yeah, he was so annoyed, buddy.
And I saw a video today. It showed you the last laps of race 2 and race 3, which is effectively the sprint in race 2, and they are identical. The two riders, Top Rack and Batista, they're putting their bikes in the exact same place. Top Rack's trying everything they can, getting everything they can out of the bike, and Batista's just sitting behind him, just knows, I'm just going to come up in the last corner and just go past you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Top Rack knows it as well.
Yeah, but
it's a real.
But in
shame.
saying that, the race between them two, was really, really good. Them two have
It was amazing.
Yeah,
they've got some really good racing. They've obviously got a lot of trust in each other when they're going around, and it is good to watch. I was watching it. I love watching motorbikes, so I was watching it and I was enjoying it. But there was a part of me that was thinking, this is really good to watch, but ultimately it's just completely pointless. Because even if Batista comes second, he's still going to go and win the championship next week. Or not next week, the next round. It just seems a little bit futile.
Yes, I agree.
Unless Batista goes out and crashes and injures himself in the first race in the last round. But even then, it's kind of a hollow victory. Top Rack's going to be there like, yeah, I won the championship. Because Batista got wrecked. So it all just seems a little bit hollow on that point. But, yeah.
Winning's winning.
Yeah, and there was a bit of a faux pas with the two Kawasaki's, which doesn't normally happen. Was it Johnny Ray took right?
Oh, yeah.
Took right?
Yeah, Alex Lowe's, wasn't it?
You seen them?
They didn't
No,
go
they didn't-
separate crashes,
They
though,
didn't take
wasn't it?
each other out, actually. They both just kind of went out in sympathy with each other. But Johnny Ray got a long lap
but
penalty.
they didn't touch.
What did he get a long lap penalty for then? He had to do a long lap penalty.
He must have
He
hit him.
did.
No, he was.
He did. He was miles
I
away.
think he
from
was responsible for another crash later on.
Ah, okay. I was going to say, they didn't touch. It was just, they both just went down on the same bit, the same corner.
Who was it in the at the weekend? He got a penalty for using an extra engine. There was a allotted amount. They have an allotted amount of engines every season, don't they? And somebody had to use another engine, and he got like back of the grid, fucking start from pit lane, all sorts of stuff. I can't remember which rider it was though.
Was that World Superbikes?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Pretty sure somebody got a penalty because they used an extra engine. I'm pretty sure it was World Superbikes.
Did you see in the flag to flag race in MotoGP that Quartararo and
Oh yeah,
Carl
Crutchlow.
Crutchlow had a wrong bike change?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Genuine, any other weekend, we'd be raving about MotoGP and how exciting it was with that flag to flag race, because the flag to flag race is exciting.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Any other weekend, like, we'd be talking about it so much. But we've just got such a fierce rivalry going on in BSB, and it's all I want. Like, any time I go on Facebook, unless I'm looking at a BSB forum or page, I just don't want to be anything else. Like, I'm looking at MotoGP stuff and I'm like, yeah, I don't care. Or this World Superbike stuff and I'm, yeah, swipe, whatever. Just get away with that. It's like, just BSB. And I just love
All I want to do is do it.
I love watching all the Bridewell fanboys or all the Glen Irwin fanboys like either defend their rider or else ridicule their other rider, and some of the stuff they're coming out with. And every other post, there's always like some post where somebody's coming out going, oh, let's just put that to bed, and then the next post it's like somebody's giving the big F off and saying, no, I hate this rider and this is why.
That's why I just love chucking a spanner in the works, just posting a meme just to get everybody revved
No,
up.
you're the sort of guy, Chippy.
It's
You
so
incite
good.
hate on social media. That's what you do. You incite hate on social media. You are
I just stir the
You are
pot.
a troll, sir. You are a
He's
troll.
he's a keyboard warrior because he wouldn't say any of this
Yeah.
to anybody's face.
You are a troll. First and foremost, right, let's
love a
talk
meme.
about the British Superbike racing. Right, race 1.
Yes.
Obviously, it was wet.
Very, very wet.
Very
And,
wet.
It wasn't a very good race.
Quite a lot of riders made a bad choice when it came to tyres, and most importantly,
They did.
Glenn Irwin made a bad choice. Tommy Bridewell made a bad choice. And at this point in time, that's all we were watching. We were watching Tommy Bridewell and Glenn Irwin, and they were just watching each other to see what they were doing. And it just opened the doors for all the other riders to go out, the likes of Kyle Ryde, Leon Haslam.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm glad they both got it wrong, because if one would have won the race while the other finished at the back, that would have been such a
It would have been pretty
crap way to get an advantage in the championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they both messed up.
Because they were both like right at the back, weren't they? They were back with Dunlop, weren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fighting for a place with Dunlop, like. It was just bizarre to see them all the way back there. It was so weird because they weren't even on the board. I was obviously watching it on my telly, and they weren't. You know, you got all the riders lined up. I was thinking, where the hell's Irwin and freaking Bridewell? Where have they gone?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very wet race, wasn't it?
It was. And then it was, because obviously it goes on fastest laps for the start of the next race, like where you start, who gets poled and that. And then that was a bit controversial as well, because it was all to do with tyres, because they changed tyres. Did Bridewell come in straight away?
He came in on the last lap.
Was it the last lap?
Bridewell
the penultimate lap. He came in close to the end to change his tyres to try and get a fast lap.
Yes, it was the penultimate lap.
But if you set a fast lap on a different set of tyres than what you started with, it doesn't count. So that's why he started at the back of the grid. Whereas Glenn Irwin changed his tyres. But again, I got all this from people on social media. Glenn Irwin changed his tyres, but there's a rule says that if you don't complete a lap of the circuit, should it be because there's an accident and you're behind the safety car, or there's a red flag or whatever, or you come in to change your tyres, any reason, if you do not complete a lap of the circuit, you will start in the same place that you started at that race, but you'll be deducted 6 positions. So Glenn Irwin didn't finish an entire lap. He came in before the end of the first lap, changed his tyres, so effectively he didn't complete a lap of the circuit on them tyres. So as soon as he did that, he automatically was going to start in 12th, because he was starting in 6th, plus he was deducted 6 places. I don't know if Glenn Irwin knew that, or if it was complete accident. I personally think it was a complete accident. I think he went out and he thought these are the road, because he says himself that he wanted wet tyres on, but his team talked him out of it. He said that in a video. Have you seen his video?
No, I've not seen
one.
He's
put a Tommy Bridewell-esque, because that seems to be the new thing. Say something stupid, put a video on Twitter the next day. But so apparently he wanted to put wet tyres on, but his team had different ideas. That's probably because Tommy Bridewell or whatever, I don't know. But I think it was just pure freak accident. He went out in the first lap and thought these are not the right tyres, came in to change the bike, and inadvertently set himself in 12th for the second lap. Ryan Vickers won that race. Leon Haslam came second. Luke Mossey got third, and that just opened the door, because none of them two got any points, and that just opened the door for the likes of Leon Haslam and Kyle Ryde and Vickers and all to grab some points,
which they did.
And then race 2 happened.
And then race 2 happened.
I couldn't believe it. I was screaming at the TV.
You were a little bit ahead of me, because Chippy and I were messaging each other, and
I obviously watched it later on.
I completely forgot that you were ahead of me. I completely forgot, because I had paused it to go make a cup of tea or something, and I was watching it, and then so you just sent me a message saying no, like all these O's. And I messaged you straight away. I was like, I think you're in front of me. Don't, and then you had sent me a voice note. And you're like, don't listen to my voice note. And I was thinking, what's going to happen? And I was fairly sure something was going to happen to Glenn Irwin, because you wanted Glenn Irwin to win. We'll talk about that in a second. And then Tommy Bridewell just, like, I seen it happening as soon as. Was it Vickers was at the front, or no? Was it Kyle Ryde at the front, or was it Vickers?
I can't remember at
Hold
that
on,
point.
get race 2 results up. Kyle Ryde. Pretty sure it was Kyle Ryde was at the front.
Yeah.
And
They were scrapping though. They were scrapping
yeah,
all.
Kyle Ryde was at the
It
front.
was really good to watch.
Glenn Irwin was second. Tommy Bridewell was third. Kyle Ryde went in. And Tommy Bridewell says he gets sucked in. So he was trying to break to Lee. And then what happened was he ran into Glenn Irwin. I thought something was going to happen to Glenn Irwin. But as soon as I seen that happening, I knew. It was like I was watching it in slow motion. I seen Kyle Ryde coming in. I seen Glenn Irwin coming in after him. I seen Tommy Bridewell missing the apex completely, and I knew he was going to have to let.
He's so out
I
of
knew he was
shape.
going to have to let the brake off, and I seen Glenn Irwin was going to come in front of him. There's nothing Glenn Irwin could do because he didn't see him there, and I seen it happen in slow motion. And before it even happened, because I knew something was going to happen because you had sent that message. Before it even happened, I had already started my voice note. Because I knew something was going to happen, and I went absolutely. How cross was I down the phone? I went mental down the phone.
But
no, don't play it.
I mean, I've still got it on here.
Dude,
I think we should
no,
play it.
I think we
edit
should.
it. No, you won't be able to hear it,
That-
and I'll just edit
still play it
it out
anyway.
because you can't put it in the show. There was a lot of French being used. That's for sure.
Actually, yes. Yeah, we can't put that in the show. Just remember what you said.
I was emotional. I was like, wow. I was punching my table. I was genuinely punching my table and everything. I was like, but I wasn't
I
angry.
couldn't believe it.
I wasn't angry at Tommy Bridewell. Well, I was because he was trying too hard by that point. But we can talk about that in a minute. I was just like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So what I think happened was he obviously started last. We discussed that with the tyres and blah blah blah. He started last and he ran phenomenally. He got from last to first in 10 laps. Amazing. Yeah. I think he caught them
really
sleeping, napping a little bit. He did brilliant. And then obviously they'd seen he was there, so they fought back. Kyle Ryde fought back. Glenn Irwin fought back. There was a bit of scrapping going on. I think to get to that point, Tommy Bridewell was so full of adrenaline, and the way he was riding, it was just like, whenever you start riding like that, it's hard to get out of that. It's hard to let, like, especially when you're riding at them speeds, it must be hard to let that adrenaline drop. So you just keep going at that. You just keep taking.
If I can't get past you, I'm going through you.
But you know, to get there, he was having to take massive risks. He was having to take massive risks to get to there.
Yes.
But what I'm trying to say is, once you get there and you're at the front, that's when you kind of want to calm it down. You kind of want to take a breath and think, right, I'm at the front, calm it down, just race with these guys. But I think he was struggling to get his adrenaline down, and he was just taking too many risks that he didn't need to be taking. And obviously, if you continue to take risks like that, inevitably that's going to happen. So I think, like, realistically, I've not been in a situation where I've been riding a bike at that speed and racing like that. I can imagine it's very hard to control that rush of adrenaline like that.
Yes.
And switch that over, you've just been knocked off your bike, you're racing for a championship, and you're the guy that's knocked you off, you know, and his opinion possibly was maybe riding a little erratically by that stage, taking too many chances that he didn't need to be taking. You get knocked off your bike, you're going to be furious.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not going to.
And Tommy was on the floor. He was like, kind of like, oh, I've come off a bike. And Clem I thought he was going to start beating him. I genuinely thought he was going to start hitting him. He was so angry. But obviously, you're going to be out here. The adrenaline's pumping. You've just been knocked off in the championship, like you say. And he was just like,
yeah, he walked up to him and was like, "What are you doing, you idiot? What are you playing at?"
Yeah. Chippy, do you still think that Tommy Bridewell did it deliberately?
Well, I had this theory on the way to work, and I was thinking he could have possibly done it deliberately because he obviously started at the back. He had to use a lot of tyre to get to the front. And then I was thinking maybe he thought he knew he wasn't going to finish at the front by the end of the race because his tyres would have gone, and he'd probably ended up finishing about 10th. So I thought maybe he just deliberately took Glenn out so Glenn wouldn't gain any advantage on him. I don't think he did. I don't think he would have done that.
I don't think it was deliberate.
I think
I could imagine
I think
some riders have done that before.
I think that was completely idiotic to even think that, Chippy.
I do as
and
well.
even worse than that, you put it in Twitter. I think you need to go on Twitter and you need to apologise.
Yeah, you need to do a Tommy Bridewell video right now.
I think you need to go on Twitter and you need to apologise for that post and just say it was a rush of blood.
Did I keep it on there or did I delete it? Because I'm pretty sure I regretted it as soon as I put it on.
Yeah, it was an idiotic thing to do, an idiotic thing to say.
Yeah, really.
Oh no, it's still on there. I got one reply and it just said, "What a stupid, ridiculous comment."
No, I thought the same. I thought the same, but I thought
I might just delete
the same, but I thought I'm not going to reply.
Somebody liked it though.
Yeah, there's
I
some.
think I liked it. Did I like it?
No, it's on Twitter. You're not going to like Twitter. You're not on Twitter.
Oh no, I'm not on Twitter.
But I think there's a small modicum of truth to your theory, and that I think Tommy Bridewell maybe thought his tyres will go, and I think that's maybe why he was pushing so hard. He maybe thought in his head, I need to get as far in the lead as possible. I need to get as far away from these guys before my tyres go to give myself a chance to finish with some good points. So maybe that's why he was still riding so hard even though he had caught up with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then another part of me thinks he got to the front within 10 laps. How hard was he pushing his tyres, really?
I imagine he was pushing pretty hard.
Yeah, but they're all
I'd
fairly
say it was.
bunched up. You know, they're not miles apart. Like,
But then there was the whole erratic, fighting for them positions. They were really scrapping for them.
yeah, I suppose.
They weren't hanging about, and they weren't taking no prisoners. Clearly, especially Bradwell.
No,
Unfortunately, it's just one of them things where he just
if Bridewell can't get past you, he'll ride
he's
through.
gonna go through. Yeah.
Yeah, he literally said that. He said that weeks ago, months ago. I think I've proved that if I can't get past you, I'll go through you. Yes, Tommy, you've proved that well and truly.
And then later on in the race, when they both got back, they immediately shut the doors on the pits.
Yeah. Glenn Irwin was screaming.
He was raging. They were all holding him back, weren't they? They were holding him back. He wanted to go over and give him a right good seat.
Now I know we're not journalists and we don't need to stay. We don't need to stay neutral. And I think it's fairly obvious who we're supporting in all this. Well, at least me and Chippy, I think. But try not to take sides too much. But I find it really hard to listen to Tommy Bridewell's interviews and not cringe a little bit. Some of his interviews are a bit like, oh. And I see people on social media who are like, oh, Glenn said this and Glenn said that. And maybe it's because I'm looking at Glenn Irwin through rose-tinted glasses. That might be so. But I listen to his interviews, and yes, there's one or two things he says that maybe are a bit awry. That you think, yeah, adrenaline. But Tommy Bridewell comes out with some ridiculous stuff on his interviews.
He defended his move, didn't he?
Yeah,
he made out like he got sucked in. He tried to say
it's not my fault. It wasn't my... Well, whose fault was it?
Yeah. He's saying that Glenn braked too hard or something in front of him, and
Glenn wasn't braking that hard. Glenn was already taking the corner.
The way he was,
and the
way he was talking about him going and braking, I'm going and braking. I almost thought he was trying to somehow link that to his mistake with the safety car. It was like, oh, he's braking in front of me, to try and make. Of course, he's not going to go straight on. He has to brake.
But the thing is, he was saying Glenn Irwin was braking harder in front of him and that, but he made the corner. Tommy Bridewell was so out of shape, he was missing that corner by miles. Yeah. So there's a reason why he was braking harder in front of him, because he was making the corner.
I want Glenn to win now.
Yeah, I do.
I've changed my mind.
Start of the season, I wanted Tommy Bridewell to win the championship. Now I don't want him to.
At the start of the season, whenever I first heard, because I've said before, I'm not the biggest fan of British Superbikes because it usually takes a back seat so I can watch MotoGP and World Superbikes, blah, blah, blah. But because we're doing the podcast, I'm taking more interest in this year. At the start of the season, I openly said I'm not a big fan of Tommy Bridewell. I never liked him to begin with. Not that I disliked him that much. He just rubbed me up the wrong way, which is, people are allowed to do that. It's just an opinion. And Chippy, you always said to me, you're not allowed to dislike Tommy Bridewell. Everybody likes Tommy Bridewell, Tommy Bridewell's the guy in the paddock that everybody likes. Everybody wants Tommy.
Yeah, everybody did like last year.
And flip that to a couple of weeks ago, you were then saying, I still like Tommy Bridewell, but I want Glenn Irwin to win. Bring that to this week, and you straight up told me you think Tommy Bridewell. Oh, I'm not going to say the words that you used because I would have to edit it out. But you were getting quite tasty with what you thought. You have took a complete 180 on Tommy Bridewell.
I don't want him to win the championship. I still like him, and I still want him in like superbikes and that.
I said,
and he is good for the championship.
I said,
but I don't want him to win
this. Now. I was cross, but I said I wanted a sheep to get foot and mouth. I was like, I hope all these vets get blight. Now that was a joke. That was just a very, very sinister, horrendous joke, which I made privately with you, Chippy, and I'm saying it now because I've calmed down and it was just a cruel joke. I was cross. I was so angry, but I didn't then. Didn't then go onto Facebook and vent my anger on Facebook. Some people have read some of the most ridiculous stuff on Facebook, and apparently, like according to the riders themselves, they're getting threats from people. Who does that?
Yeah, that's bad. Isn't it?
People like Chippy, keyboard warriors.
Well,
there's one thing.
I wouldn't
there's one
do
thing
that.
making a meme and putting a meme on there.
I know. I know. I'm only joking.
It's a different story going on there and attacking somebody's kids.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
The one thing that really, obviously, there's a lot of things that Tommy Bridewell did that annoyed me this weekend. But the main thing that annoyed me was when he got in. Every time he got in front of freaking Glenn and he was on a straight, he's putting his hand up to stop the race.
Yeah, but Glenn Irwin
because
says
he
himself
knew he knew it had gone the distance, so he would have got first place. I just thought, fucking put your hand down and keep racing, you idiot! What are you doing that for?
Yeah, but Glenn Irwin was doing the same. Like as soon as Glenn Irwin didn't get in front, he was going over the line. As soon as he go over the line, hand up.
I didn't see Glenn do it.
I think he did it before Tommy.
I didn't see Glenn.
I can't remember.
I'm not sure
Tommy
who
that was doing it.
I'm not sure who did it first, but they were both doing it at one stage.
Yes.
But then the rain did.
They didn't pay
It wasn't even raining that bad.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Put your hand down. Keep racing.
That's why it was so funny. It was like it's barely even raining, and they're putting their hand up, stop the rain.
When you compare it to what it was like at BSB in that race, and it was like in Japan. Like,
Yeah,
It's
like.
I love our race control as well. Race control just ignored Tommy and Glenn, and then as soon as Carl Ride put his hand up, they stopped the race.
Kyle said he's the one that's not fighting for it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Well, he is now.
Well, he is now, yeah.
But it's kind of like Moto3. When you watch Moto3 and they tap themselves in the back, they're like, follow me. And it's like, well, that's just completely pointless. They're not going to do that.
Follow me, yeah.
But there's a spot of rain and I'm the lead. Can you please stop the race, sir? No.
I was gutted for Leon Aslam with his engine blowing up.
Yeah.
Because he was doing so well.
That's a shame.
Well, I was gutted for Glenn Irwin race 3, and that's another thing I was effing and blinding in as well, because he blew up, and I was just like, that's because Bridewell ran into his bike. And that probably is why. He ran into his bike and, smashed his bike.
Caused an issue.
They had to rebuild the bike. Obviously, they made some mistakes.
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk about race 3 then.
And I can't quote anything. So if anybody wants to message me and tell me I'm wrong, but Glenn Irwin always seems to just say how well the team did, and he never really seems to badmouth the other side of the garage. He only ever just seems to say how well the team did. I know he did come out and say, I think we know who the team wants to win. That was maybe that was maybe a bit cheeky, but maybe not untrue. But Tommy Bridewell never really seems to do that. He seems to be more sinister with his words.
Yeah.
The thing that annoys me most about Tommy Bridewell is whenever he makes a mistake or whenever he does something wrong, he's never just humble enough to come out and just be like, he just hold his hands up and say, like, I made a mistake, I'm sorry.
It's always somebody else's fault, isn't it?
He's always like, he's always like a silver spoon, not my fault, little twat. Oh, wasn't my fault. I didn't do that. Like, just admit you made a mistake. Just admit you made a mistake and roll on with it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I think as well he plays on this farmer sort of image a little bit as well in his interviews.
Yeah.
It just annoys me.
I'm trying really, really hard to be as neutral as possible on this podcast. Yeah. Race 3, I was gutted whenever Glenn Irwin's bike blew at the start. I was gutted.
It was awful. He was so annoyed as well.
And I was effing and blinding the TV. Like, I was so close to just bursting my TV open. I was so cross. But again, that's not Tommy Bridewell's fault. Tommy Bridewell was racing hard in race 2. He made a mistake. He ran into Glenn Irwin. Glenn Irwin's team tried to fix the bike. They made a mistake. You can connect the dots and say, well, if such and such hadn't have done this, that wouldn't have happened. But then that's just, if you look at mechanicals and issues and go back the entire season, Leon Haslam's probably suffered more than everybody. And now that he's in a title position, you think if none of them had happened, he could be leading the championship by now.
Well, he's had, was it 5 DNFs for mechanical failures he's had this year?
Yeah, they're good them BMWs, aren't they?
And he's 37 points behind.
He'd have probably been leading the championship.
So it seems rude to then say, oh, Tommy Bridewell hadn't run into Glenn Irwin, but if you take all the mechanicals away, Leon Haslam's probably won the championship.
So with this showdown stuff that is going to happen in the last race, how many points are up for grabs?
Is
it 180 or something daft?
I don't think it is now. There's only 3 races left.
Right. Yeah, of course, sprint and two.
Could you imagine going into Donington saying to Glenn Irwin, "You're not going to score a point in these 3 races"? If some sort of...
It's 35 points for a victory at Brand.
And what's the difference?
30 for second.
What's the difference between Tommy and Glenn now?
7.5.
7 or 8 points.
All right, so Glenn's still within a shout of winning then.
Oh, shout! Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
and we're going to be there, Sam.
Yeah, we are going to be there.
Y'all going to be there.
It's going to be a good race. Weekend.
God,
I can't wait.
Why didn't you? You should have just come.
Nah, I'd rather watch it on TV, to be honest.
I get that, to watch on TV, but I think of how many times in my life I'm going to be able to go to the final round of a BSB championship, and it's not any BSB championship. This is a good tight year, and there's a lot of needle this year as well. Oh my god! And it's not that I don't want Leon Haslam or Kyle Ryde to win it, but if something happens and none of the PBM riders win it, it feels like a bit of an anticlimax, doesn't it? And to me, it does.
I don't know. I think that would be just as good.
No,
yeah,
I think
I'd love it if Kyle Ryde won it by 1 point.
I think I'd be driving home on Sunday being like, "Oh, Kyle Ryde won the British Superbikes." Oh, but I'd be happy for him.
I think that was my prediction at the start of the year. I think when it Kyle Ryde. I think it was.
I want one of the PBM riders to win it. I want Glenn Irwin to win it. No, I lord it over all them Tommy Bridewell fans on Facebook all off season, every day on the off season. Glenn Irwin won. Ha ha. Nelson Muntz memes. Ha ha. Nelson Muntz memes. Ha ha. Every day. Ha ha. Stick that in your hobby farm.
Do you think it'd be better if Glenn Irwin won by half a point?
Tasty.
Rather than smashing him, I think it'd be even better if he just won it just literally
I want him to
that
go out and
much.
do a triple. I want Glenn Irwin to go out and do a triple. He's had such a bad weekend at Donington Park, and Tommy Bridewell's annoyed me. So I want Glenn Irwin to go out and do a triple. I think it would be class, just absolutely. And that
you can just feel more drama coming, can't you, in the last round?
Tension.
Something's going to happen.
It's going to be. Oh, and you think about
explosive.
You think about the team. Think about the team. Think about being in that team, right? You're on Glenn Irwin's team. Race 3 at Donington Park. You dropped the ball. There was a problem with the clutch or whatever. You're building the bike before the sprint race. You're nervous. You're double, triple, quadruple checking everything you do. Everything you're tightening, everything you're taking apart, everything you're putting back together. You're double checking everything, making sure everything's right. You want to make sure that whenever that bike goes onto the grid, if there's any problems, it wasn't your fault. You know, if there's a problem, you want to be able to look at somebody else and say, well, it was his fault. But even then, you don't want to be in the garage whenever they come walking in and being like, there was a problem with the bike and this was it. Even if it's not your fault, you'll be like, oh my God, we let the ball down. And then once that's over, then it's down to the riders and the tension in the riders. And it's the same with Glenn or Tommy Bridewell's side as well. They're going to be the same. And the thing is, I think it might be a bit easier for Kyle riding them because even though they're in a title shot, if they go out and don't win the championship, it's like, oh well, nobody expected you to a couple of rounds ago.
Yeah. And he's already confirmed that he's ride for next year anyway.
Yeah, so I think must be so much pressure and so much tension in that team, PBM team, both sides. But
I think
the only thing is,
I think one of the PBMs are going to throw it up the road.
I wonder if the mechanics. Do you think there's one of Tommy Bridewell's mechanics and Glenn Irwin's mechanics? Like, ooh, don't like you. I'm going to get my dad. Well, my dad's.
Bridewell does go really well at Brands, though. He loves Brands.
When they race at Brands, this is a question because there's two circuits technically at Brands. There's like what's called the normal and then the international. Do you know what they race?
Find out.
Because my old man was asking because when he used to race, he used to use the normal one, but they do have an international one as well apparently, which is bigger. So I just wondered if they would maybe make it bigger for the final round, like, but.
It is the GP version.
Right.
I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, we're going to be there.
Oh, and Sam, you get to meet Mrs. Chippy.
Okay.
Well, not my missus, but...
No, Mrs. Chippy.
So...
My sister, Mrs.
your
Chippy.
sister.
No, he's going to meet your sister, your mum, your old man.
Yeah, true. Actually, yeah, you're going to meet all my family.
They're all there.
You keep putting us on the pedestal, Ash. Like, I don't mean this the wrong way, Chippy, but you keep putting it on the pedestal like you think I care.
It's not very nice, is it?
I literally just want to grab my car out, my tins of beer, and just go watch the motorbikes and get drunk. I feel really...
Yeah,
I feel really
enough.
awkward around people I don't know. I know I can walk into a crowd and be like, "Way," but
what?
I feel
that does not sum you up at all.
I know, but there's a
you feel awkward around people you don't know. You literally walk into people and just freaking start balancing a chair on your chin.
No, I can.
Throwing pizza at people.
Yeah, throwing pizza crust at people, then getting smacked in the face.
Yeah, but I can do that in a certain scenario whenever there's alcohol involved. You know, whenever you're in the possession, whenever you walk into a possession and you think, you know what this needs? This just needs a clown. It just needs somebody here to just step out of the comfort zone and be a clown and bring everybody together. That's not the situation we're in. We're in this highly tense environment where everybody's just walking on eggshells in case Tommy Bridewell walks past. Because God forbid you annoy Tommy Bridewell.
Is Josh Owens racing? Or not?
He should be, I think. Yeah, he should be back from injury.
So it won't be Michael Dunlop again then?
No.
Oh well, at least...
Might be there, I don't know.
At least Josh is getting back on the bike though, the last round at least.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie did really well on race 3, got 4th.
I knew you were going to mention Charlie before the end of this pod.
Well, why not?
But yeah, he did. He did do well.
He got 4th. I think...
Apparently the team were very happy.
He got 8th in race 2, I think, as well. 8th.
Wait, we've talked about BSB.
Yes.
And we've been going for over 2 hours now.
Well,
even though listeners,
10 minutes.
if you're listening, if you're still listening to this, we have been going over 2 hours, but it will be edited down, especially because Ash forgot to record half the podcast. which I now have to edit. Thanks, Ash. Right. Should we get on with the question that was asked at the start of the show?
Yes.
Some people may have just used a timestamp for this to get here. If you have, hello, you've just cut out all the bullshit to get here. And it was bullshit.
To be fair, I think I'll be using the timestamps if I listen back to this.
Has been the worst episode. This has been the worst episode we've made ever.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
No, it's not.
It has been. This has been the worst episode we've made.
The worst one was the shit show.
No, it was bad technical problems, and we didn't know what we were doing because we were like 3 or 4 episodes in. I can forgive that. This is the worst one yet. This is the worst episode we've made. If you're still listening, or if you made it this far,
the best one was the last one.
When I wasn't here.
Yeah.
Great.
No, I'm only joking.
Right.
No, I'm not. You shit. Fuck off.
Let's get on with the question.
You can read out, Chippy.
Okay. Well, my question was, which rider do you think could have been a front runner or a champion in a better class that was never given a chance?
I like what you put for Sam's there, Chippy. Should I go first then?
Yeah, you go first.
Well, I've picked Toprak Razgatlioglu. If Toprak had been given a chance at MotoGP, I think he would have been great. The way he rides is fantastic.
Bullshit.
I think the way he rides is, I think it's brilliant.
Look,
I think if you got Toprak and Bautista, right, and you swapped bikes, Toprak would have smashed that championship this year, World Superbikes.
right, that's fair enough. But what you're doing is you're highlighting the situation that happened earlier this year, where Len Jarvis basically came out and said Toprak's not good enough for the MotoGP. That's what you're saying.
I think he
and
would
you're
have been
saying
good. I think he would have been good.
Yeah, on what? A Yamaha that doesn't work? Fabio Quartararo.
Do you reckon he'd have been better than Quartararo?
Fabio Quartararo's a literal world champion, and he can't get the bike to work.
Yes,
Franco Morbidelli is a European Supersport champion, and he's a Moto2 champion, and he's a runner-up in the MotoGP, and he can't get the bike to work.
I'm not talking about just Yamaha, am I? I'm saying if he went to MotoGP, he could jump on a fucking Ducati for all we knew. I'm not saying Yamaha.
Yeah, but I could jump on a Ducati and win the championship.
Yeah,
he
but
couldn't.
in that case, my argument is Toprak's still got time. He's still young enough.
Yeah, but I'm just obviously.
But I think going to
BMW
is a big mistake if he wants to get to MotoGP.
Massive mistake.
Yes.
But yeah, that's who I think. I think.
However, just digressing
MotoGP,
slightly,
he'd be great.
Garrett Gerloff's getting plenty out of that Bonovo BMW. And Michael Vandermark's doing better than the BMW as well. So put Toprak in the BMW. He might be able to scrape a few results here and there. Might be able to get a podium, but he's never going to win a championship. Anyway, that's all I'll say.
No.
But you think he won a MotoGP?
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying he would have been. I think he would have been really good in MotoGP. Not necessarily on a Yamaha, and that's why I said, shut up, because I'm not saying he got a Yamaha. He could be on a Ducati, Anyway, Sam, what would yours be?
Well, mine's very similar to Chippy's, so I think Chippy should answer first.
Well, I've gone with Jonathan Ray. So I reckon if Kawasaki were in MotoGP, obviously it depends how good they are. If they're like what Yamaha is now, he's not going to be winning championships.
Probably would be, because it's a Japanese bike.
If they were like Aprilia or KTM, then I think he could definitely be a front runner in a team like that. But yeah, Johnny Ray's my answer for that one.
Yeah.
Well,
that would have been my choice,
Sam?
but you'd already picked it, so I kind of went with somebody else.
Yeah, well, I don't really know what else to say, because my answer would also be Johnny Ray, but my answer would be slightly different. It wouldn't be if Kawasaki had a team in MotoGP. I think a Johnny Ray had a chance in MotoGP. I go back to whenever he was riding for Honda, because he wildcarded 2 races in MotoGP, and he get a few good results. Well, his best result was 7th, but whenever he went to race for MotoGP under Honda, he was told under no circumstances do you crash this bike. So they basically told him, don't be going out there and trying to win races. Do not crash the bike because it costs too much.
Yes.
You're not worth the cost of that bike. So just go out there. And he still managed to come 7th. So basically riding around, not trying. That's effectively what he was doing. He was riding around on a bike that he doesn't know, and a track that he's not used to, not trying, and he came 7th. And this was 2012, whenever the aliens were racing. So you had Danny Pedrosa, well, it was before Marc Marquez got there. So you had Danny Pedrosa, Lorenzo, Rossi, Dovizioso. You had all these phenomenal riders, and Johnny Ray came 7th. And it's like, just think if he would have had an entire season on that bike and then a second season, and he was allowed to push it to its potential. Think of what he could have done.
Johnny Ray at Repsol Honda.
So mine's a similar answer to yours, but rather than Kawasaki, I'd go back to when he was at Honda. I also like to think, yes, you said there, Sam will probably say something from 1920. I also like to think about Carl Fogarty. I think if Carl Fogarty would have went to MotoGP sooner in his career, he might have done more.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Or it's possibly not a step up in championship, but I think about Jeremy McWilliams, who raced in MotoGP and 250cc for years. If he would have went to Superbikes, I think he would have smashed Superbikes. And the last one I have is Ben Spies, who did go to MotoGP, but he just had a horrid time whenever he was there. Kept getting injured. That could have easily went a different way. If that would have went more his way.
Yeah.
But ultimately my answer is, Johnny Ray.
Cool.
Groovy.
Well.
So,
thank you.
That about wraps up the show, doesn't it?
Thank God. This has been such a bad show. This has been the worst one yet. This had the potential to be a great show. We had so much stuff to talk about. What do you mean it hasn't? Ash forgot to record half of it.
Oh, I didn't forget.
Well, yeah, that bit's pretty bad.
Didn't fucking forget.
Every time I was talking, I was saying something, and I would stop speaking, and I would look at you two, waiting for you to say something, and Ash was looking out his window at something, and Chippy, you're just lying there half asleep, because, I've done 2 days' work.
I am very, very tired.
That happened once, because I opened the window. And I muted my mic so it didn't come through. All you had to do was digress a bit. You're great at digressing.
I know, but I can only digress so much. And then I look to you two to jump in at some stage, and you're not even concentrating, and Chippy's asleep.
Well, he should have been. I was fucking opening the bloody window. I was too hot. I was about to pass out.
Do you know who you sound like now? Tommy Bridewell. Just excuses. Just excuses. That's it. Just excuses. That's all you're giving me. This is what I have to deal with, folks. So. If you didn't enjoy this podcast, not my fault. I'm trying really hard. Week in, week out.
It's the Fuhrer's fault.
With my mustache.
Oh yeah, everyone. Sam's got a really shit mustache.
It's amazing.
I really want to cut it off.
You're just jealous because you can't grow a manly mustache to me. Right. If anybody wants to see my mustache, go to the Big Bad Bike Show Twitter page. I will take a picture and I will put it on there for everyone to see. Right. Ash, do you want to run through the socials or do you want me to do it?
I will run through the socials if you like. So you can email us, the podcast at bigbadbs.co.uk with any feedback. Please do. Nobody's emailed for a while. We are on YouTube. The Big Bad Bike Show. I promise I will get a video up. I've got videos in the pipeline. Just got to get through all the footage.
Nice.
We are on Twitter, which is now known as X, at the Big Bad BS. Instagram, the Big Bad Bike Show.
Just forget about Instagram. We're not on Instagram. We've got a page. We just never use it. It's dead.
Well, we did have a page which I used to run, and I put stuff on there, but it wasn't good enough.
We've still got a page that you're on, but you haven't done anything with it yet.
No, I'm not on it. Anyway, the one that we've
given you the password.
Interact most with is the Facebook group, which is the Big Bad BS. And if you want to contact us directly, there's Sam on X at the Big Bad Biker. I am on Instagram, the Up North Biker, and Chippy is on X at MotoChippy. That's your lot.
That's our socials. That's how you get in contact with us. Nobody ever does, so don't bother. Nobody else does.
Why bother?
Well, why would you after this show? Maybe I'll edit it and it'll turn into a class cracker. But there we go. If we're going to go live, it has to get better than this. Anyway, this has been the Big Bad Bike Show. Ash.
Silly.
Chippy.
Goodbye.
Chippy's not even looking at the screen.
I'm so tired.
Goodbye.